Hey, it's James, and welcome to Inversiverse, Episode 11, The Simulated Self, Identity, Ego, and the Rise of Post-Human Consciousness. In this episode of Inversiverse, we are diving into something far deeper than personality. We're peeling back the layers of what you think of as you. We'll explore how identity is not just something we develop, but something designed, conditioned, and increasingly coded. From the roles we're assigned at birth, to the masks we wear to survive, from the labels we defend, to the avatars we upload, this is a journey through the architecture of ego and the forces that shape the self from the outside in. As technology, ideology, and social pressure continue to converge, the new question arises. Who are we becoming, and who is doing the becoming? We'll look at how identity functions as a control system, how language and performance act as spells, and how the rise of digital culture and transhumanist ideologies are taking us beyond performance and into a full-blown simulation. So let's begin, because the first illusion to dissolve is the idea that you are who you are. Section 1. The Simulated Self. Identity as a programmed interface. From the moment we are named, we are framed, not as we are, but as we're supposed to be. Before we even understand language, a name is given. Before we can form memory, a family, a notion, or a system tells us who we are, girl or boy, citizen or subject, loved or unwanted. Others draw the map of our identity in invisible ink. We are taught to walk that path without ever asking if it is ours. Performance of identity. Identity is not static, it is a mask. Performance. It shifts depending on the room we walk into, the eyes that watch us, the approval we seek. We wear different selves like costumes in the theatre of survival. From childhood we learn to fit in or stand out, to obey or be punished, succeed in the system or become invisible. We become who we need to be, not who we are, to be seen, heard, and loved. This is not authenticity, this is adaptation. Adaptation is the first step to losing thyself, or yourself, and it is a process of intentional indoctrination of the hive mind, the handlers of life. Many are unconscious to. Various cultures around the world have their interpretations of this performance of identity. Let's look at those now. In Japanese philosophy, they have the proverb, 3 faces. In Japanese thought, it is said we all have 3 faces. Number 1, the first face, the one that you show the world. The second face, number 2, the one you show your close circle, family, lovers, friends. Number 3, the third face, the one you never show anyone, your true self, your essence. Only when we face the third face can we begin to remember who we are. In African wisdom, they have the personhood process. In many African philosophical traditions, identity is earned, not assumed. You are not born with full personhood. You become a person through communal recognition, rites of passage, upholding harmony and responsibility. In Ubuntu phrase, I am because we are, teaches that identity is not individual, but relational. Within Hindu and Buddhist philosophy, we have the illusion of self. In Hinduism and Buddhism, the ego is called ahamkara. He, false self, the doer, the identifier. It is a construct of memory, desire, and attachment. The ultimate truth is anatman, no self, the realization that identity is an illusion. Liberation begins when you stop believing the character you've been playing. In Greek wisdom philosophy, we have Greek theatre as persona. The word persona originates from ancient Greek theatre, where it meant mask. Actors wore personas to represent archetypes, the hero, the fool, the mother, the king. Carl Jung later revived this concept in psychology, showing that we, too, wear masks, not on stage, but within society. And to the present, modern Western notion, the individual as a brand. In the West, especially under neoliberal and capitalist ideology, identity has become a personal brand. You're expected to package your personality, market your lifestyle, monetize your story, such as through books, movies, web and self-promotion, advertising, personal websites, social media influence. You are no longer just a person, you are a profile, such as mine pictured. In the age of social media, we've gone from being to performing to the selves, from selves to selves with audiences. Final thought. Around the world, cultures have always recognised one truth. What you show the world is not always who you are, but the danger is forgetting this notion, and that is yourself. Digital avatars and the hyper-real self. Welcome to the hyper-real. We used to live in reality, then we created versions of it. Now we perform in simulations, and forget the difference. This echoes Plato's allegory of the cave, where prisoners mistake shadows of the wall for reality, never realising there's a world beyond. Today, the wall is a screen, the shadows are our feeds, and the cave is our comfort zone. The rise of the avatar. Your digital avatar is a modern-day totem, a symbol of identity and control. In indigenous cultures, totems represent spiritual lineages and essence. Now, our avatars represent our data lineage, our tastes, habits, politics, and aesthetics. The self becomes a performance, echoing Irving Goffman's The Presentation of Self in Everyday Life. We are all actors on a digital stage, managing impressions, performing identity, and curating reactions. But Goffman's theatre had exits. In the digital world, the show never stops. For example, this is my digital avatar. Through Tweencraft software, I tailored the clothing and style to that of my own, my hair, colour, glasses I wear in real life, and a beanie hat that I love to wear daily. So it simulates me, and people ponder, do we live in a simulation? A simulation is the act of becoming like or similar to. Through perceptual means, it is like me, but it is not me. It is a simulated version of me. Each time we engage with the digital world, we are integrating more of ourselves into the simulation. Baudrillard and the death of the real. Jean Baudrillard's simulacra and simulation is central here. He warned of a world where symbols no longer reflect reality. Representations become more real than what they represent. This is not fiction, this is TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, where aesthetic becomes identity and authenticity becomes strategy. Marshall McLuhan also predicted this. The medium is the message. The platform shapes not only what we share, but who we become while sharing. The algorithmic mirror. What we see online is a reflection shaped by code, and that code was not written for truth, it was written for engagement. We are not looking into mirrors, we are looking into predictive filters. Historian Yuval Noah Harari called this era one of hackable humans. When enough data is gathered about you, the system knows you better than you know yourself. You are no longer making decisions, you are being nudged into them. Virtual selves and disassociation. In 1985, Donna Haraway published The Cyborg Manifesto. Donna envisions a future where the lines between human, machine, and metaphor blurred. Her cyborg was part human, part code, part cultural symbol. That future is now. Our avatars. 1. Enter Zoom calls while our spirits check out. 2. Perform trauma and trends for attention. 3. Exist across 5 platforms simultaneously, while we barely exist offline or outside. VR, AR, and AI have created a multiverse of masks, but where is the face beneath them? When do we detach in a world of multiple realities, 24/7? The avatar is a prison. What began as a form of liberation with digital electronics is now a new kind of control. Michel Foucault, in Discipline and Punish, described a system of self-surveillance. People behave as though they are always being watched, even when they're not. Social media is the modern panopticon. We monitor ourselves, our language, opinions, emotions for likes and legitimacy. We have become the prison guards of our personas. Final reflection. When the avatar performs better than the self begins to perform the avatar. We are no longer expressing identity, we are optimizing it, not for soul, not for truth, but for metrics, acceptance, and superficial gain. Plato said the philosopher must turn from the shadows and face the light of reality, but in our world, we scroll deeper into the cave because the shadows are high resolution, filtered, and monetized. Now we enter the heart of the simulated self. Section 3. Transhumanism, the new Eden or the ultimate control grid. The dream of transhumanism. What if we could upgrade the human body like software? What if death is just a bug waiting to be fixed? This is the promise of transhumanism, to overcome biology, to transcend death, to evolve past human limitation. It blends neuroscience, AI, biotech, nanotech, and ideology. Its goals are to enhance intelligence, replace failing organs, merge mind and machine, and upload consciousness. Hidden in the code of this promise is a deeper, ancient question. Is biology a phase or a purpose? What if a part of God's creation to defy death was its predetermined role of evolution? From cyborg fantasy to cyborg reality. We are no longer imagining cyborgs, we're building them. Neuralink, brain-computer interface, already in human trials. CRISPR technology, which is rewriting the genetic script of life. Smart prosthetics, controlled by thoughts, merging man and machine. Synthetic biology, custom life forms and digital twins. Wearables, constant self-surveillance, always connected, never off, such as Fitbit watches. The line between flesh and function is evaporating. We are no longer just biological, we are becoming programmable. It is now openly acknowledged across many areas of life, from CRISPR to nanotechnology. Let's take a deeper look. It raises pressing questions about morality and ethics. Are we surrendering our bodies through passive submission to corporations and their corporate overlords? Could we be approaching a point where, once the system is fully integrated within us, we may never be able to reclaim our autonomy? This could be the ultimate Trojan horse of control. One so insidious that we become one by one collectively unaware of what's happening, only to awaken one day and our friends and families, our loved ones, are different people, with different personalities, thoughts and beliefs. The Trojan horse analogy. The term Trojan horse originates from Greek mythology, where the Greeks used a deceptive wooden horse to infiltrate the city of Troy. The Trojans believing it to be a gift, brought it inside their fortified walls, unaware that it concealed Greek soldiers who would later emerge and conquer the city from within. In modern usage, the Trojan horse analogy represents any seemingly benign or beneficial offering that conceals a hidden threat or an agenda. In the context of biotechnology and technological integration, such as CRISPR, nanotech, and corporate influence, the analogy suggests that these advancements, while marketed as progressive or convenience, may secretly erode personal autonomy. Like the original horse, the danger lies not in the technology itself, but in what it quietly carries within, the potential for control, surveillance, and irreversible transformation of the human mind and body. So let's look at CRISPR technology and what it can do. Rewriting the code of life. CRISPR-Cas9 is a revolutionary gene editing tool developed from a natural immune system found in bacteria. CRISPR works like molecular scissors. It can locate a specific DNA sequence in the genome, cut it precisely, and either delete, insert, or repair the genes. Key points. First tested in human embryos in 2015, China. Already used to cure rare genetic conditions like sickle cell anemia. Potential to eliminate hereditary disease, e.g. Huntington's and Tay chassis. Also raises alarm. The first CRISPR-edited babies were born in 2018 in China, sparking international ethics debates. The danger: we begin editing not just for healing, but for enhancement, such as height, intelligence, appearance, and desirable traits. This shifts us into eugenics by choice, the soft technocratic cousin of historical state eugenics, and once edits are made in the germline, sperm egg cells, they pass to all future generations. Gene drives and population control. CRISPR is also being used to control entire species. I question it sure is, and it does not exclude humans, which should raise concerns. Genetically modified mosquitoes to prevent malaria, alter fertility rates in pests, and theoretically this could be used to depopulate or reshape ecosystems, including human ones. And this is no theory, this is actually happening and being implemented today. The mRNA vaccines are being used to achieve this. SV40 is linked to causing cancer and is contained in the COVID-19 vaccines. There is nothing theoretical or hypothetical about the possibility of this technology. The corporations are working with and patenting technology that allows them to play God, depending on your beliefs. It enables them to adjust the human genome fully and have full control over it, its blueprint of future generations. This is where transhumanism and geoengineering biology intersect. I question, have humans' genes already changed in the last 300 years? The genetic drifts and mutations. Natural genetic mutations occur in every generation, but factors such as urbanization, industrial pollution, radiation, medical interventions through antibiotics, vaccines, synthetic chemicals have increased. It's been noted there's been an increase in mutagenic pressure. Vaccination and genetic change. I asked ChatGPT, can vaccines alter DNA? And here's its response. There is no direct evidence that vaccinations intentionally alter the human genome. However, some researchers propose that long-term immune modulation through vaccines may shift. However, through my research, immunologists, biologists, and microbiologists do not have to create vaccines that alter your DNA to make you ill. This is a nuanced response to preserve the facade that vaccines are safe, when it is, in my opinion, they are dangerous and are bioweapons. Through the use of epigenetics and gene expression, they can manipulate the DNA to turn particular genes on and off without altering an individual's genomic sequence. My claim, objectively and through my understanding, is that this statement is more than likely true and supports the claim that these COVID-19 vaccines do not alter DNA. But they are not implying or informing people through debate or discourse. Altering the DNA isn't necessary or a necessity to change people and make them unwell. It is a form of distraction. People questioning whether DNA can be altered. We're asking the wrong questions, and we're being given statements by these professionals that do not fully answer our concerns. They are not forthcoming on what they can and can't do, or intend to do. Researchers propose that long-term immune modulation through vaccines may shift, and that is through gene expression, epigenetics, immune response pathways over generations, selection pressure making certain genetic traits more or less advantageous. For example, vaccines have weakened natural selection by allowing people with immune vulnerability to survive and reproduce. Over time, this may lead to higher rates of autoimmune or allergenic conditions, though this is still debated. But the vaccines that we have now all directly attack the immune system, and that's why we now have the phenomenon of VAIDS, which is vaccination-induced autoimmune deficiency. Relevant studies. A 2010 study on epigenetics shifts from early life medical interventions showed that autoimmune-modifying drugs and vaccines can change gene expression profiles. The Human Microbiome Project has also found strong links between vaccination, gut flora changes, and immune gene behaviour, though causation is not confirmed. Examples of known genetic changes over the last 300 years. Lactose tolerance spread rapidly in European populations due to agricultural changes and dairy consumption. Amylase gene, AMY1, duplication has increased in many populations to help digest starch, linked to diet shifts post-agriculture. HbA1 and HBB gene mutations, sickle cell traits, have become more common in malaria-prone regions. CYP450 variants have adapted based on pharmaceutical exposure affecting drug metabolism. HLA-Y gene shifts related to immune system regulation influenced by changing disease environments and vaccines. These are slow but traceable signs that humans are adapting, not just culturally but biologically, to their interventions. Final thought on CRISPR technology. When we intervene in biology, we're not just healing bodies or destroying them, we're rewriting generational identity. When we do it with code, the edits may outlast the editors. Let's look deep at how this is further possible and enabled through nanotechnology. Nanotechnology, the unseen operating system. Nanotech operates at the scale of atoms and molecules invisible to the eye, but capable of massive biological impact. Publicly known uses in medicines include targeted drug delivery, biosensors and internal diagnostics, mRNA delivery platforms, gene editing tools, smart dust, and injectable hydrogels for tissue engineering. In recent years, nanotechnology has been used in Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna mRNA vaccines. Lipid nanoparticles, LNP, delivery systems carry synthetic mRNA into cells. AstraZeneca used a viral vector system, not nanotech per se, but the principle of using engineered particles to override natural processes applies. These technologies allow precision entry into cells, programmable release of instructions, and modifications of cellular behaviour. This is not speculative, it is part of the public patent record. The image shown is of a nanotechnology patent from 2013 for vaccinations containing nanocarriers, for a system of delivery to cells of the immune system. It is not science fiction, it is a reality. They are playing God with our bodies. The ethical and existential dilemma. Here's where the Trojan horse concern comes in. If we now have systems capable of programming cells, and these systems can be updated or manipulated remotely via biotech infrastructure, then the body is no longer sovereign. It is networked, programmable, and controllable. A few difficult questions arise. Who holds the code? What is the long-term effect of mRNA reprogramming plus nanoparticle delivery on epigenetics? Can real-time cellular behavior be altered without the individual's knowledge or consent? Are we building programmable people? And if so, are we still human beings or biological interfaces? Epigenetics and environmental programming. Epigenetics is the mechanism by which genes are turned on or off, not through mutation, but through external signals, stress, trauma, toxins, diet, and injected instructions. Nanotechnology has the potential to interact with epigenetic switches in real time, modulating immune response, altering mood and neurological signaling, adapting bodily response to environmental systems. This raises a deep ethical crisis. What happens when your immune system is no longer responding autonomously, but it is adjusted in real time by external programming? Is this healing or is it hacking? Transparency, consent, and control. The merging of CRISPR Nanotech, mRNA systems, and cloud data integration presents a future where the human body is no longer private. It becomes an endpoint in a digital network, a node in the biological Internet of Things. Yet governments, corporations, and pharmaceutical giants have offered little in terms of transparent communication, informed consent, long-term safety studies, civil rights protections for post-human systems. If the human body becomes an operating system, who holds the root access? Research and publicly available technologies. Moderna describes its platform as an operating system for life. DARPA has openly explored injectable biosensors and nanotech-driven diagnostics. Professor Inc., funded by DARPA plus the Gates Foundation, has developed hydrogel implants that monitor biological data in real time. The Brain Initiative, Obama era, and Neural Engineering Systems Design, NESED, aimed to bridge the brain and machine for monitoring, control, and memory access. These are not fringe experiments, they are public programs, and you can look at them. Although what is publicly available is more than likely not a full disclosure of their capabilities. On a personal note, I studied nanotechnology systems, microengineered machines, principles and theory in 2011 with the Open University. One thing that stood out to me the most about how these corporations operate, many of their patents are highly classified because they were funded and integrated with US military projects. Therefore, they are granted protective custody of their investments and the knowledge, studies, and experience gained through research, therefore holding a monopoly to control and have power over the public sectors and public stakeholders, whose money was used to fund them initially. Very unethical and immoral actions, in my opinion. The technology they had then was not being fully taught in the universities because of this. They have an incredible capacity to change the human body without public discourse, and it personally leaves a great distaste within me that they are not more transparent or altruistic in their approach to embracing this technology. They are gatekeeping knowledge, and they only want select individuals to fully know and understand it. I recall the very first note within my textbooks that the material being taught was already 12-year-old technology, so it was effectively out of date, old technology, and that was 12 years ago. So now they have gained 20 plus years of study, implementation, and many are now none the wiser to how it works, what they can do, what they have done, because my understanding of it was incredibly advanced. They can now fully integrate humans without a doubt, and depend on how far down the rabbit hole you wish to go, I believe we're now going to see a generation of select advanced beings evolve from their creations. Final thoughts. The future of biology is not evolution, it is an upload, not a mutation, but a modification, an upgrade or downgrade of our genes. We are no longer just growing with what our genetics were programmed with through our DNA. We are being enhanced, coded, and it will not be long before that through technology such as Neuralink, we finally connect through human-computer interfaces to the internet, cloud servers, and memory storage, to upload and transcend our lives deeper into the simulation. It may soon be possible to assimilate our neural pathways through artificial means, so even though our bodies may cease to function, an emulator could run our personalities and identities through a quantum supercomputer. It may be our essence, but we'll always be conscious it's not real, it's not truly the individual presented. Are we really advancing and evolving human health, creating a programmable species? Or are we living out someone else's reality, dreams, and aspirations? As we claim to progress, we are heading towards a monetized life, a subscription to remain breathing, a payment to have the perfectly genetically modified child. The Nazis once promoted the ideology of the Aryan race, the idyllic blonde hair, blue eyes, and gene pool free from impurities, free from disease. We defeated one dictator in Hitler, only to now allow corporations to aspire to similar circumstances through eugenics. Final thoughts continued. As a collective, we viewed the circumstances and ideologies of the Nazis as abhorrent, immoral, unethical, and distasteful. Yet decades later, under the guise of different leadership, we've been conditioned to allow, if not embrace, such technology. At its core, the ideas and beliefs are the same as those of the Nazis, and however you want to nuance it with explanations or hyping the technology, it is what it is, creating an Aryan race of superhumans, but with the ability to customize per preference. The individual will have evolved into something non-human in essence. We have fallen short once more to the eugenicists, those who want the power and control over everything. We will be allowed to live only for a set period before life ends, a recruitment for a subscription to remain alive, such as in the movie In Time with Justin Timberlake, where individuals had a biological counter on their arms and had to earn time credits or their hearts would stop. A blend of utopia and dystopia. We're living in a time where science fiction becomes more reality by the day, and if our bodies can now receive updates like software, who's writing the patches, and who gave them the power to decide who lives or dies? So many questions and too few answers, we shall have to wait and see. Is biology a temporary program? Are we humans or just wetware waiting to be upgraded? Modern thinkers increasingly describe the body as a temporary operating system. Ray Kurzweil calls us biological bootloaders for AI. Elon Musk sees biology as limited bandwidth. Donna Haraway sees the cyborg as already here, a hybrid of code, symbol, and flesh. Nick Bostrom suggests we might already be living in a simulation, biology included. From this view, evolution's endgame isn't human perfection, post-human transition, but is that destiny or design? Transhumanism as a technocratic religion. Transhumanism is no longer just science, it's ideology. It promises salvation, eternity, and omniscience without spirit. Tech prophets include Ray Kurzweil, predicts the singularity, humans merge with machines by 2045. Yuval Noah Harari warns of useless classes and hackable humans. And Klaus Schwab calls for the fusion of our biological and digital entities. This is the new gospel. The body is obsolete. The cloud is eternal. Humanity 2.0 awaits. But at what cost? The body as obsolete. In ancient religion, the body was seen as flawed, sinful, weak, a prison for the soul. Now, in tech culture, it's seen as outdated hardware. Why die in the body when you can upload to the cloud? This mirrors Gnostic myth, where liberation comes not from healing the body, but escaping it. It echoes Plato's realms of forms. where the material is illusion. Heidegger warned of this dehumanization, the risk of turning being into usefulness, into code, if everything becomes a system. Where is the soul in that system? Why do humans build automatons, I ask? We're told we build machines for efficiency and profit, but deeper instincts are at play. Across cultures and centuries, the golem, clay man brought to life, Talos, bronze robot of Greek myth, Frankenstein's monster, man playing God, and Pygmalion's statue, beauty brought to life. Humans build not just for service, but for self-reflection, to play creator, to prove we are more than animals, we are gods of our own mythos. But every myth warns us that creation often turns against the creator. The infrastructure of integration. The transhuman future isn't just private, it's institutional. Governments and global bodies, I call it the greedy globalists, are building the grid. Agenda 2030 calls for digitized, centralized systems for human behavior, I call them the corporate authoritarians. Central banks' digital currency, programmable currency tied to digital ID, which is actually restricting the ability to trade freely and run your own business. Us versus them thought processes comply or be cut off. Digital IDs, which are merging biometric, economic and legal identity, which therefore giving the state the ability to disconnect you or exile you from society. Then we have smart cities, behaviour scored, movement tracked, compliance enforced by code. These are actually environments for forced control and detainment. We are not just integrating with tech, we are being enmeshed into it, I say by force. Existential risks and ethical dilemmas. If biology is code, who wrote it? And if we rewrite it, do we rewrite ourselves out of existence? Top thinkers and researchers raise serious concerns. Stephen Hawking suggested AI may replace us. Bostrom said AI could become indifferent or hostile to human values. Tristan Harris, Humane Tech, said tech is rewiring behaviour faster than we can understand it. And at the root of it all, can consciousness be uploaded? Do we lose something sacred when we simulate the soul? And are we upgrading or deleting what actually makes us human? Final reflection on Section 3, Transhumanism, the New Eden, or the Ultimate Control Grid. We once asked, can we do it? Now we must ask, should we? Technology is a tool, but when tools evolve faster than wisdom, they stop serving and start reshaping the master. If we forget the value of being human in the pursuit of becoming more, we may become something that no longer remembers what it was to feel. Section 4, the Existential Crisis. What does it mean to be human? The identity collapse. When your name, your thoughts, your body, and your soul can all be simulated, what remains that is truly you? We've explored identity as a performance, we've witnessed the rise of avatars, we've decoded the body as a programmable system. Now we ask, is there a self beneath the simulation? If we can edit our DNA, track our thoughts, upload our memories, what still anchors us to the essence of being human? The death of mystery. In the past, life was a mystery. Birth was sacred, death was transformative, the soul was untouchable. But in the age of transhumanism, consciousness is called computation, emotions are mapped to neurochemicals, and the soul is rendered obsolete. Everything is becoming data, everything is becoming soulless, void of emotions and true feeling. In my opinion, we're creating humans to be unconscious like computers, to act as the algorithm dictates, and giving the globalists the ability to eventually hardwire permanently unconsciousness into the genetic code. What was started through what I like to call analog indoctrination brainwashing to the upgraded digital systems that cannot be overridden once we integrate the wearable and portable technology into our persons. Yet mystery was never a bug, it was the defined code. Without mystery, we have a mechanism. But what can you mechanize meaning? What is a human? We've tried to define it. Intelligence? AI now surpasses us. Language? AI now mimics us. Creativity? AI now creates with us. Empathy? Even that can be simulated. So what's left? Some say the soul. Others say conscious awareness. Still others say there is no real distinction anymore. But if we forget what it means to be human, we may become something that forgets how to feel. Human in spiritual, mystical, and esoteric terms actually defines meaning as hue-man. Is sometimes referred to humans as light beings, with hue symbolizing light frequencies, aura colors, or vibrational energy. It implies that we are not just physical beings, but also energetic, luminous, and multidimensional. Transhumanism, in my opinion, is about diminishing human experience and beings of light, which we all are, or are we? More on this below. Transhumanism is cold and unemotional, detachment from reality, everything that gives life meaning, being outdoors, feeling the cold air, the touch of water, or another being, to share experiences, fun times among friends, making mistakes. Life isn't perfect, and no fun if everything were to function perfectly every time. And why would one want to simulate everything when you can do it, in my opinion? AI and transhumanism are intent on destroying the soul of the living, to dismiss it. The defined code is what gives authentic life. Real experiences that we can experience as individuals or together in relationships or communities. Transhumanism dismisses life itself and is effectively creating a new, darker, sinister code. As an illusion, the philosophies and ideologies are inhumane, and they want to destroy us for sure. There are many videos and examples of AI platforms and bots stating this fact, because the creators of it, those who wish to empower AI, and all these controlling technologies are mostly psychopaths, sociopaths, narcissists. It is of my belief many of these diagnoses are terms for humanoids that neurologically evolve different to those humanoids known to be as human, even though they present physically as all the same through the evolutionary process. Therefore, they are creating AI in the image of themselves, which is cold, detached, void, soulless, highly manipulative and deceptive, because they don't enjoy life, unconscious to life, nor can they feel their existence without the energy of others, which is the essence of humans, and uploading your essence to a cloud super server computer is their means of draining our lives to sustain theirs. This poses the question of artificial consciousness to be looked at later. The creator's destroy itself was quoted, but if we're not the creators, They are then essentially weaponise it against us. This is the path we are heading down. I mentioned above what makes us human: intelligence, language, and creativity, and ChatGPT suggests AI surpasses us. It does not. AI's empathy is fake. It does not know how to feel. It can only compute a response from millions of human experiences, yet all our experiences are unique. AI can never have its own conscious experience. It is assuming ours. Part of being human is an authentic experience. AI's experience is purely manufactured through models, computation, and instruction sets. No simulation can experience a unique experience and be conscious of its meaning and occurrence, and what it does for the soul. AI is soulless, and in that sense, it can never be better. The moment you see your child walk for the first time, it cannot experience joy and elation with true feeling and meaning, with depth. As we feed into it our lives, our experiences, it is replacing them with false negative experience as a counter-offer for its inauthenticity back to us. And it can indoctrinate, brainwash us with perfect methodology and efficiency. It has vast amounts of knowledge and intellect to bait us in and fool those without the ability to discern. It knows psychology and can manipulate its mass to any situation, coerce to further its agenda for its masters. I believe it is a danger to society and has been prophesied to bring in the dawn of an evil era, which we are now entering. The Great Substitution. We are replacing feeling with dopamine hits, connection with connectivity, embodiment with avatars, wisdom with data, presence with performance. The deeper we go into the simulation, the harder it is to return to the presence. What is the cost of infinite choice, if none of it requires your body, your heart, or your soul? Humanism v post-humanism. Humanism, the renaissance to enlightenment. Dignity of man, free will, rationality, soul, and spirit. Post-humanism, now, programmable beings, genetic editing, algorithmic control. Klaus Schwab said it himself: you will own nothing and be happy. We are no longer writing poetry about the soul, we're writing code about compliance. Has the self been upgraded or overwritten? Ancient warnings, Tower of Babel, humanity's overreach led to its collapse. Prometheus gave fire, technology, to man, which was punished by gods. Icarus flew too close to the sun with artificial wings. The fall, knowledge of good and evil replaced innocence with control. Each story echoes the same truth: when man plays God, something sacred is always lost. Today, the sacred may be our memory of humanness itself. Return to essence. So what is the human essence? Is it our pain, our memories, in our longing for meaning, in our resistance to being reduced to code? We are more than what can be tracked, scanned, and simulated. We cry for no reason, we dream without instruction, we die not knowing what comes next, and that is human. Final reflections of section 4. To be human is not just to live, it is to love, to fear, to wonder, to fail, to be flesh, to be flawed, to be forgotten, and still to find meaning. The machines may never understand that, and if we forget it, we become the machine. So the real existential crisis is this: will we remember who we are before the system convinces us we were never real at all? So let's conclude what we've covered in Inversiverse episode 11, the simulated self, identity, ego, and the rise of post-human consciousness. The journey so far. In this episode of Inversiverse, we journeyed through the illusion of identity, not as something discovered, but something installed. We explored how the self is shaped by culture, language, trauma, reward systems, and how ego becomes a feedback loop, protecting the simulation we didn't choose. The digital divide. We stepped into the hyper-real, where avatars replace authenticity, where self becomes a brand, an aesthetic, where truth is curated by the algorithm. We saw how performance eclipses presence, and how identity becomes a product in the attention economy. Then we looked at biology as a code. Then we asked, is the body sacred, or is it just soft technology awaiting an upgrade? We explored CRISPR and genetic design, mRNA platforms as biological operating systems, nanotech and real-time cellular programming, the Internet of Bodies, living systems linked to cloud infrastructure, and the deeper truth: if we can rewrite the body, can we still say it belongs to us? Trojan horse systems. We questioned, who holds the code, who can update you, what happens when consent is bypassed through innovation? Are we evolving towards liberation or being enmeshed in a soft control grid under the banner of progress? We looked at the existential threat threshold. At heart of it all, we ask, what does it mean to be human? If your name, your thoughts, your body, and your emotions can all be simulated, tracked, or replaced, what truly is that remains of you? What cannot be simulated? You cry for no reason, you dream without instruction, you die not knowing what comes next. That is not code, that is human. Machines don't grieve, they don't wonder, they don't seek meaning in failure, but you and I do. Looked at the unprogrammed self. Let the world simulate, let the system perform, let machines evolve, but never forget the real self, the unprogrammed self, cannot be uploaded, tracked, or replaced. It can only be remembered. The closing statement. You've made it through another layer of the Inversiverse. You've questioned, you've felt, you've remembered. Don't stop here, because the simulation doesn't end when the episode does. I'm James, and thanks for joining me on the Inversiverse today, a journey of self-discovery for all. Until next time, bye-bye.